Hey guys, Micah from Black Bear Custom Kydex. I've got a video for you today on a couple of sheaths that I just made for a Leatherman OHT, and this is my favorite Leatherman at the moment, at least. I just think it's a great tool. OHT stands for one-handed tool, and essentially the idea is that with just one hand you can operate every single element of this particular tool. So it's extremely utilitarian. I think it's got a lot of great tools on it, and obviously the ruggedness and regular quality that you're used to with all of Leatherman's gear. So I'm a huge fan of this thing. Someone had contacted me probably a year and a half ago now. It was a long time ago, and asked me if I could build a sheath for a Gerber MP600 that would automatically deploy the pliers upon drawing. And so I did that for him, and then it just sort of happened that the second customer that asked me to do that for them, I had discovered that I could make the pliers collapse upon reinserting them into the sheath. And it wasn't too long after posting up on that. Sorry, I'm fidgeting with this wing nut here. I'm trying to get it back in place. It wasn't too long after posting that that I started getting calls about seeing if I could do it to a Leatherman OHT as well. And of course, that is very possible. So the OHT, I think, is far superior to the Gerber MP600 in just about every way, unless size is an issue for you, in which case, this is probably about 20% bigger than the MP600. So, that's certainly a concern for some people. But for the most part, I think this beats the MP600 out in every way, and I think that the sheath actually works nicer with this tool than it does with an MP600. So if you're looking for out the front pliers tool, I would highly recommend you just invest the extra money to get the OHT, and yeah, I think you'll be very happy with this tool. So anyway, these two particular sheets are going to Matt. One is for him and one is for his son, and he asked me to set them up the same with an American flag Kydex and Desert Digital Camo as the accent piece and a holder for a standard Sharpie. So I chose this subdued flag Kydex because I thought it would match the Desert Digital the best, rather than going with something like a full color flag. So obviously the shape of it is a little bit strange or different anyway compared to the regular. This is what the normal OHT sheath looks like. It's usually just a taco style design, one piece sheath, folded over with a tech lock on the back for carry. These guys are pancake style sheaths, and the reason I went with pancake is because Matt asked if I could set these up to be carried on the right side with a forward cant of about 45 degrees. I think it's actually just a little bit north of 45, and he wanted to carry these on speed clips. So I've done one sheath for him before with an OHT. Maybe it was two. I think it was just one. But he asked for it to be set up like this, and he liked it, so he asked me for a couple more of them. And so this design I'm really happy with. I think it works really nicely. And yeah. So for those of you who have followed me for a little while, you've probably seen a few different styles of sheaths for the OHT. And I'm trying to... I don't want to take down old videos because they do help. A lot of them have 1,000+ views or whatever, so they get viewed. I think it, like, just the algorithms of YouTube, it promotes those videos more. So something with higher views is more likely to be seen than something with less views, and that drives business my way. So there's that. But I do also want to simultaneously attempt to, I guess, dispel some of the previous information or replace it. And one of the things that I used to require with the OHT was that a customer decide whether or not they want to keep or lose the wing nut off their tool. So this is essentially a locking mechanism. This is the pliers lock. When it is in line with the system, the pliers can move freely. And when it's perpendicular to the system, it locks the pliers up. So I used to mold the sheets up a little bit further, and it was necessary to decide because it would interact, the sheath would interact with the pliers lock or not. But now with this newest generation, it does not interact with the pliers lock, and therefore it doesn't matter if you keep the pliers lock on or remove it. So a lot of people email me inquiring about an OHT sheath, and they'll say, I'll get rid of the pliers lock or whatever. You don't have to worry about that now. And I'm obviously happy to tell you that if you don't see this video and email me. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that out there because I think having to get rid of it, or the choice kind of freaks some people out for some reason, having to take a piece of their tool apart. But that's all that does. It just locks up the pliers. The whole reason you might want to do that, lock the pliers up, is because if you're using another tool, particularly the ones on the front here, let's say you're using a screwdriver or something and you need to apply some forward pressure, it's kind of a pain if you accidentally deploy your pliers and hit the project you're working on, and then you can't actually put the pressure in or whatever, and you have to reset. So it is a nice little option to have to lock those up. So all right, in any event, the sheaths will deploy your pliers upon drawing, and they will collapse them upon reinserting them into the sheath. So check this out. Bear in mind, obviously, this is going to be carried on the right hip, tilted forward, so I'm drawing at a little bit of a weird angle, but it should work pretty well all the same. So you can see that it's basically bottoming out in the sheath. Sorry, I'm trying to get some natural light in there. Yeah, you can see the tool right there. So it's bottoming out, which means the pliers are definitely collapsed, and it's deploying them pretty clearly. You can see it works in either direction because the tool is close enough to symmetrical that it works. And it should work very smoothly every time. The only thing you really need to do is make sure that when you're drawing, you don't want to draw slowly, and you definitely don't want to have it stop at the top. The reason is because, it'll still draw. You can still get it out of there all right, but you can see there's that higher pressure point right at the top, and essentially that's created by the fact that the sides, the walls of the sheath, are pinching against that rail system, those buttons, so that it'll engage the pliers for a full deploy. If they're not pinching, you might end up with a partial deploy, which would be bad. So I have to build it a little bit tight, compressed in from the sides. So that said, all you have to do is just draw quickly and smooth, and it'll work every time. You shouldn't really have that hang-up point if you're going quick. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. And honestly, if you play with this for just a couple minutes, you'll get the hang of it, and it'll all make sense to you. So he'd asked also for the marker holder to have a stopper in the bottom, and it's challenging with a tube style holder to create a physical stopper. Obviously I could do that with this, but this is a two-piece sheath, or actually I could do it with this too, but there's still a distinct front and back rather than it being circular. However, the marker is tapered, so what I did was I formed a tapered loop here so that it has a natural stopping point. You can't force this all the way through, and even though you could put this up from the bottom, it's extremely tight. It just doesn't make any sense to do that. So, oh boy, now I think I've got it lodged. Hold on a second. I have to dislodge it with a pen. Here we go. Well, that was officially stupid. Alright, so anyway, it does have a natural stopping point, and the taper itself is essentially the stopper. How I would recommend to get this out of there is to brace the sheath or the top of the tool or whatever, and just assist it upward with one of your fingers. And then once the bottom is kind of level with the bottom of the loop, it becomes pretty free and clear to just draw it out. Very easy to use. So that's essentially it for you, and I hope you guys like this. Definitely comment down below. Let me know what you think of these sheaths. Let me know what you think of the Leatherman OHT, and if you have experience with any of the other out the front pliers tools, the Leatherman OHT, Gerber MP600, and Gerber Center Drive. Those are the ones I know of. I'm sure there's some others out there, especially knockoffs and all that, but let me know what you think of the OHT compared to the other ones if you have any experience with that, and definitely get some conversations generated down below. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, so like, share, comment, subscribe, and stick around for the next one. God bless.